Welcome to season number 2. Hands up going on. Nevertheless, here we go. One-on-one between colCrunCher and sixjaxViBe. Cannot wait for this to go down. It's going to be a tale of epic proportions because both these players are beasts from North America. That doesn't really rhyme.
Yeah, that doesn't rhyme at all.
But whatever.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, you know what
They're both phenomenal players, you know. Vibe having absolutely one of the best macros, I think, in North America. He is so fast. He can do more multitasking than almost any other North American Zerg. He can definitely keep up with even the Korean players, you know. Yeah. Just comes down to decision making, whether, you know, he makes the right decisions in game, or whether he gets the victory screen or not. And then you have crunCher, who is absolutely a phenomenal player. I mean, he is so smart when it comes down to what he's doing, you know. He comes up with builds and creativity unlike any other Protoss, I think.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, crunCher, he's the one that everybody looks to and says, oh, that's how you play late game Protoss right now. I mean, we've seen him so many times, especially, I hate to call attention to it, but Idra, your teammate, him and crunCher have a lot of history, and it goes back to just those decision-making games at late game. I mean, he is so intelligent when he gets to that stage. He gets that beautiful army composition, the impenetrable death ball of Protoss, and Zerg can literally do nothing about it. It feels so helpless for them.
It's true, and he definitely knows how to not overextend in those kind of battles. After he gets that death ball and that army that he wants, he knows how to not get into a bad position. He knows how to always manipulate the terrain using force fields and everything else.
Yeah, and I'm almost positive we're going to be seeing something like that this time around. We already see him gearing up for a Forge Fast Expand. Of course, going towards that macro mode that he so loves. We can also see that the probe is going to get in here and deny that first hatchery from going down, but Vibe doesn't care. He already made that one spawning pool.
Yeah, and we see that Vibe did not get a gas. He's just planning on, you know, making a couple lanes, going straight into a hatch, and most Protoss players on this map go for a fast expand. It's not that great of a one-gate core type of play style, so we'll probably see a fast 2-base or 3-base out of Vibe.
Yeah, I think that was absolutely correct to go that gasless. Well, now he puts down a gas, but I think I like it going gasless first just because you go ahead and don't dilute your mineral economy. You can get the maximum number of minerals. A lot of times you want that metabolic boost out because you have to worry about something like stalker pressure. That's not going to be the case this time around, and Vibe is going to clean up that one probe that was being so pesky in the beginning phase.
Yeah, and that probe went down, and I don't even think he saw that he actually got a gas. Like, I'm pretty sure he didn't even see that. Nope. And we see the expansion going down from crunCher. We see they did already make a photon cannon. He played it really safe. He went the cannon before Nexus, which most players don't do. Most players try to, you know, they get the gateway out before they even make the photon cannon.
Now, Jake, you are the Zerg resident hero over here. What does that actually say in terms of just the overall game? Is it going to affect crunCher that much in this game, or it's just like, okay, he's just behind this much, or is it a lot? Does it represent a lot?
I think it represents a lot. I mean, I know his Nexus is going to be slower, his gateway and all of his tech's going to be slower, so I feel much more comfortable taking another expand, just double expanding right off the bat if I see a cannon first.
That's very, very true. Hopefully Vibe actually does that. I would love to see a double expand coming out of him. That's actually the more common way to go about this this matchup, especially. It's almost reverting back to the StarCraft 1 era in Brood War, where you would do that same thing. You would double expand. Hopefully we see 5 hatchery one day.
Hopefully. 5-hatch Hydra. Maybe we'll see Hydras one day where they're viable. Maybe. Probably not. I'm not going to get my hopes up.
Come on. Come on. Don't be crazy now. But for the most part, everything's just standardizing right now. We do see the drones split up. Interesting enough, Vibe is actually very, very late on his second queen. I think that's a little bit of a mistake. He doesn't have a queen at the natural, so there isn't another inject as soon as that hatchery pops up. In the meantime, crunCher has gone ahead, went 2 gateways before that cybernetics core. Now, it might not have done a lot, but I know being a Protoss that actually affects your ability to produce probes and chrono boost them out, so we can see a little bit of chrono boost saved up in each of them. He just cannot utilize that because his money is so low, and it's because I think of that one gateway.
Yeah, it's actually kind of weird. We're seeing 3 queens now at the natural for Vibe. I mean, I guess he wants to have a ridiculous creep spread. It's the only thing I can think of. He actually even pulled the queen out of his main, which I'm thinking this might be a mistake because he's going to miss an inject here, I do believe.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I think he realizes that now. Goes ahead and puts that queen back, so he's absolutely fine. But in the meantime, he has thrown down a Roach Horn, an Evolution Chamber, and that third that we were talking about. So I think actually this is the third we were sort of talking about. It's a little bit later than I would have liked to have it.
Yeah, absolutely. He could have had this third much sooner. Being able to scout your opponent's fast expanding, you can be greedy. You can be a little extra greedy and take that faster third base and not be afraid of any kind of pressure. I mean, if they're opening Forge, you don't really have to worry about a Nexus cancel because it's still going to be too late to do any kind of actual damage.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And look at him right now. CrunCher only has count 'em, 3 sentries out. We haven't really seen what he's going to deviate to. We do see 2 gateways going down and 2 additional gateways. So it is going to be 6 gate pressure and then a robo. So it's actually... No, it's going to be 6 gate pressure. I think most definitely it will be. But it's going to be a little bit later. It's not that rush 2. He is still getting probes. He's looking to just get his upgrades going. +1 is underway, and probably +1 armor will be underway as soon as that ends. No, actually, Twilight Council goes up. Excuse me. So I'm not sure exactly what CrunCher is doing. Maybe it's just a very fast Blink Stalker play.
Yeah, it looks like he's just trying to get a lot of production facilities out. You know, he's getting a lot of gateways so he can get a lot of stalkers. He's also going to have the Observer with his Blink Stalker, so he can also minimize the creep spread, which I think is really important that a lot of Protoss players don't do. You know, fighting Zerg on creep gives Zerg a huge bonus to their army.
Yeah. You know what? For those of you that don't know, Zerg do get a speed bonus on creep, and what that actually does is allows things like Zerglings to close in on their opponents faster, especially things like Banelings, and it makes it so much better for them. We're going to cut back. Emmett, why don't you come to us? It actually allows them to surround their opponents better, get closed in better, and because of that, it increases their DPS, which is damage per second.
Absolutely.
Of course, you know you are the Zerg resident hero. We're just going to take a quick pause real quick because apparently Vibe has his hotkeys messed up. They are secret accounts.
Wow.
So that nobody goes and bugs him. So
well, hotkeys are kind of important when it comes to Zerg.
Yeah, I mean, hotkeys, a lot of, like, for instance, what I do is I remap my backspace to my spacebar.
I exactly do the same thing. Great minds think alike, right?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And what that does, if you press spacebar then, or if you press backspace if you're crazy,
right.
If you pressed either of those two now with our hotkeys, it would actually cycle through each Nexus, hatchery, command center, whatever it might be, and then you could either allocate, you know, chrono boost or inject larvas a lot quicker that way. We're going to actually start the game up. There you go. And things are all good. So that gives you just that little edge for macro, and it makes it feel so nice and dandy.
It's true. And also, hotkeying all your queens together, along with the spacebar, you can actually cycle through and inject in ridiculous amount of time, which we see. Vibe was actually one of the more early players to start doing that.
Yeah, you just literally, I would do all my queens on 3, and I just go 3, space V click, space V click, space V click. It's the most beautiful thing in the world.
It's true. We have a CrunCher moving out right now with a probe, so it looks like he wants to build that proxy pylon and start putting on some pressure.
And it is going to be that blink timing. And this is Antigua Shipyard. There is that destructible rocks over here. Once you open that up and there's no creep threat over there, it becomes very difficult to keep up with your opponent. It's just a disaster. And oh my goodness, a War Prism coming in. This is going to be awesome. He's actually going for the main, directly for the main. Glio Reconstitution is being upgraded. There is not Burrow or the other, what was the other one? The Tunneling Claws either. Hydras are out. Oh my god, this could be disaster right now. Here we go. Blink is finished. He's going to blink up into the main. There the sentries go down, and they're going to easily force field that ramp. Oh my god, Vibe is in a lot of trouble.
Right now, he could totally warp in a whole nother round of units, which would make this Protoss Death Ball that much more powerful. He has so many force fields. He can keep the Zerg out of his base for so long right now. We do see the Hydralisk in that just went down. He does warp in some more Stalkers, and there's just continuous force fields on this ramp. Vibe looks like he's actually thinking about doing a counterattack right now.
Yeah, Vibe has no choice. He has to. There's so many force fields over there, so He says, okay, the only thing I can do is pressure. Is he going to be ready? CrunCher throws down a lot of photon cannons right now. Is it going to be enough? It's going to be very tough. There's that big warp in. There's actually 4 sentries in that entire army. That's going to be enough to really force field this ramp. So it's really all up to CrunCher. Is he going to mess this up or not? I don't think so. The cannons just finished right there. The force fields want to go down. There the force fields go down. A little bit of misstep. But meanwhile, the lair has gone down, and it looks like all that's left is this natural, and the third has no production units, though. There's no Roach Warren, no spawning pool. This is disaster.
Yeah, this is just ridiculous right now. I don't know what Vibe could do to actually come back at this point. He lost all of his tech. He still does have a spawning pool, which I think might be a mistake from CrunCher not to finish that off, because that would stop him from rebuilding Roach Warrens and everything else, or starting even a lair.
Oh my goodness, and now he's going to lose his last spawning pool. Excuse me, I didn't see that the spawning pool was still alive. Blinkstalkers are here, still going to kill the rest of these drones and the queens. The one great part about this is all he has to do is pick up those sentries inside of that warp prison and blink out, and look at that, he just retained his entire army. Holy guacamole, is this the most cost-efficient attack in the world. Look at that, units lost, 4,550 for Vibe, 700 for CrunCher.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is like such a huge advantage for CrunCher right now. I mean, we do see that Vibe is taking a third, and he's going balls to the wall right here. He is taking that gold expansion right here. And this is what he has to do. He has to be risky at this point to get back into this game.
Yeah, and you know what? He still has no way to produce any units. He can only produce drones from here. He is currently supply capped, meaning CrunCher is only going to get more and more ahead in terms of units. You can see that he's just massing up, getting that Colossus together, getting that Thermal Lance up. He's saying, I don't want to risk it, get into a bad position, something goes wrong. Let me go ahead and get that super unit, which is the Colossus. Get that out. Make sure all of your units, your composition is complete garbage, and then I just run you over. CrunCher always doing the very, very common collect decisions, which I so love.
We also see that he is also upgrading that +2 attack. With 2 attack, Colossus one-shot any Zerglings or anything like that, so it just makes his army that much stronger, and I really love this. He's moving out. He's probably going to be taking a third here and just sit on this ground right here and just gain a bigger advantage at this point.
Yep. That's all he has to do. There you go. You are absolutely right. Nexus goes down. The double assimilators going down as well. Just make sure that he can mine that gas so fast, because gas in this game is the limiting factor. You have to definitely always prioritize that over minerals for the most part, especially when you're in that mid-game, end-game stage. We'll consider this mid-game right now. Finally, Roach Warren going down for Vibe, but you know what, Jake, where can he go from here? I mean, yes, he's getting the gold expansion, but I feel he's just so severely behind in not only tech, but army. I mean, is the impetus just on CrunCher right now to not attack? And I don't know what Vibe can do.
I think it comes down to a couple things. I think we need to see a big army mishap, a mistake from CrunCher. You know, even though this looks like a 1A kind of army, he still needs to mess it up somehow. I don't know how that's possible, but it needs to happen. Also, the lair just finished, and we do need to see some kind of either... In my opinion, infestors would be the best alternative right here. Just get out some infestors and hope your opponent doesn't attack, and then you can kind of equalize the playing field and go into a more macro-based game. Gotcha. But we see that is not the case. CrunCher does have that 2 Colossus in his army, and he's using that to deny the mining at the gold.
Yeah, that's going to be so difficult to revive. He did finally get that up. His main is actually running pretty nicely. Let's go ahead and look at the income tab. 77 harvesters at 52. CrunCher actually slacked a little bit, but of course he was at optimal saturation for 2 base. Now he's at 3 base currently. But now finally this hatchery is going to go down. We can see that actually Vibe has taken the lead in the amount of units. He's all the way up to 174 supply. And, well, CrunCher just did a huge warp, and now he's at 185, so CrunCher just pulled ahead. But still, for the fact that Vibe lost his main and is still able to get to that level is really, really strong. Unfortunately, the Protoss 200-200, for the most part, is a lot stronger than the Zerg 200-200 without infestors.
Also, the Protoss has upgrade advantage. That's something to also throw into here. Protoss is at 2-1, and we see... this is a big engagement.
Here's the big engagement. Roaches and Hydras are just scrambling to find some sort of position to attack their opponents. The Zealots, Stalkers, Sentries, and Mass Colossus are just bearing down on this 3rd base. Vibe sees no way to actually attack. Very, very nice force fields coming off on the right-hand side, and it looks like finally forcing the engagement. The third goes down. The Colossus are just wrecking every single one of these units. Finally, the units from the right-hand side are going to be able to engage. Mutants are going to come over here, but it's just too little, too late. Oh my god, Vibe is losing everything. GG is called out, and Cruncher is going to take game number 1.